to another episode of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. Episode number 4, we've been amongst the winners, and as ever, I'm in good company, open class company. Tony Bullen, who is the open race correspondent of the Racing Post, joins us. Tony, how's your form?
Yeah, not too bad, Dave. I mean, what a start to the year it's been. I mean, obviously, we've touched on it. It's normally a slow burner, but wow, it's been fast and furious, and it's getting even more hectic, Dave.
Oh, it's incredible. We'll touch on what's to come, and we'll look back on what has happened as well, because we've got Essex Vase, Silver Maiden, and then obviously the Northern Puppy Derby, and the big one, what we're going to get right stuck into, which of course will be the Ladbrokes Winter Derby, which is sizzling hot. Right, the week ahead, Thursday, we'll briefly touch on that, Tony, because it's quite a tricky one to really delve into, because we're light on form, but Thursday night at Newcastle, first round heats of the £12,500 Northern Puppy Derby final, one of the big ones for the pups.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it doesn't look a vintage renewal, but the amount of times I've seen a puppy event, they're unknown quantities, Dave, and we're going to certainly learn a lot from the first round on Thursday, but normally there's one or two lurking in there that are above average, and we'll see how the event pans out, but there's a few away trainers that have gone up there. They ain't just going up there for the journey, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We'll touch on that in next week's episode as well. But we'll look back then at what happened last week. And there's no other place to start than the sensational Roxys Bullet winning the £10,000 Coral Essex Vase. And what a story it was. Now, we really drilled into this race last week, Tony. And you said much depends on what Roxys Bullet does at the box. It's got the early pace, probably going to move off. Well, did all of that and led and just kept going.
Yeah, not all credit to the dog, because went quicker, produced the best run in the final, and we said he could be the key to the race. He was the key to the race. He led and stayed in front. And all right, he doesn't do anything flashy on the clock, but Romford is a track where you can get away with that. You don't need to be the fastest dog in the race. If you get out in front, you can defend the lead. And boy, did Roxys Bullet do that.
Yeah, 12-1 winner there, 35-28. Iams of Sydney, the favourite, snapping at the heels of the winner around the final 2 turns. But an incredible story. Paul Burr is now dual attached at Yarmouth and Romford. He rings up Romford just before the Essex Vase starts. This is my team of 3. Mark Arkle, the racing manager, says, listen, Paul, we're a bit light on entries. Have you got any others you can put in to make up the numbers? And he says, I've got Roxys Bullet, who's gone back-to-back in A1s at Yarmouth. They've told me that they're going to struggle to grade the dog on. I'm not sure if he'll stay. Chuck him in, and he just kept on improving, Tony. Incredible story.
And that's the beauty with this sport, Dave. Nothing's ever set in stone, and, you know, there's always some sort of backstory behind every winner, but that's just unbelievable. Like, could have just easily been laying on his bed, plying his trade in graded company, late entry, come, and then we'll throw him in it, see what he's capable of, and the dog did.
There you go. Anything can happen in ground racing, as that has shown there. So well done to the British bred Roxys Bullet and trainer Paul Burr, being a first ever Cat 1 winner for Paul. The other final we're going to look at, well, I did tell you last week, if this dog's facing the right way when the trap's opened, he will win. And what a performance it was from Pap Dioro in the £5,000 Coral Silver Maiden final. The draw was there, 3 edged inside, but he was away and gone. And fair play to Savile Roberts and his team, Tony. They sort of rerouted. They are fancied him for the All England Cup at Newcastle. Didn't work out in the final. And this was plan B straight away. We're still a maiden. Came down, trial. A little bit of a scare in the first round, but he was sensational in both semi and final when it mattered.
Yeah, what he did do, he improved with each look round. He ran the bend like a Rolls Royce in the final. And he was probably one of the fastest maidens in the country, Dave. I mean, the conditions of the race suited. He was a maiden and he strutted his stuff, sub 24 seconds, just a real professional performance. And now he's got his head in front, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, and Savile afterwards uttering the D word, Derby. So there you go. That's where you probably see Pap Dioro come sort of April, May, June, across the start of the summer, of course, toaster for the Derby. Right. Now then, this is absolutely sensational. The £10,000 Ladbrokes Winter Derby at Monmore gets underway on Saturday morning. There's 6 first round heats, 36 runners. The breakdown, 24 railers, 8 middles, and just the 4 wides. You'll be able to watch all the action live on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button on the next 3 Saturday mornings. Heats, semi-finals, and then the £10,000 final. And the entry is incredible, isn't it?
Unbelievable. I mean, Monmore's always been a speed track, Dave, but boy, is there some speed in this competition. I mean, some serious early pace. Obviously, another factor to take on board. This is running under the morning, so dogs' routines, they'll have different race meal at different times. So you can see a few freaky results, but the action, whether it's night, day, whenever, that's superb entry. I think you've got to be a bit disappointed if you was Maglar Sid connected, because the dog's won 3 from 5 at Monmore in decent times. He's not got in, but it's little trainer syndrome again, Dave. You know, the bigger trainers seem to enter 4 or 5 and get in, and I'd be very disappointed if I was connected with Maglar Sid, because the dog deserved his place ahead of a few that were in the event.
Yeah, certainly a surprising name on the reserve list. Who knows? Maybe one will come out and he might get in. He certainly deserves his chance. Right, we will whiz through the 6 heats, which are absolutely brilliant. And we'll chuck in 1 or 2 replays along the way as well. But we're going to tackle heat number 1 first, which will be the 12-17 on Saturday at Monmore, of course. The 6 heats will be the last 6 races on the card. So it's a morning meeting that moves into the afternoon. Final 6 races, so a chance to get to the track, a chance to go and see your dog, and a chance to kennel in as well. I think there's a second kennel in. Where do we start here then, Tony? Because Romeo Cypher has obviously been in great form for Dave Mullins. On the inside at Monmore, what are your thoughts?
He moved well in the trial. He railed in the trial, but dogs on their own tend to do that, Dave. They ain't silly. They know what route to take. And he was foot perfect in the British Bred Puppy Cup at Oxford. Set new track record, 26.47. So, I mean, a repeat of that should see him book his place in the semi-finals. Why Ironman? He was Gold Cup finalist. He's got some good form to his name, but he's not showing any pizzazz out the boxes at the moment. And I just think Romeo Cypher can lead on the inside and probably stay out in front.
Yeah, Wireman, of course, the Derby Plate winner as well, but Romeo Cypher, very much a speed track as well, Monmore. So early pace is the name of the game. Queen Georgia, we just saw Queen Georgia in action in the final of the Essex Vase. She's been routed to Monmore. She lines up in trap 4. I'm going to take a chance here with one at a bit of a price. Magical Rubble in the orange jacket here. Now, I think it's a good draw because 4, I thought, might take a step inside and probably not got the pace of these to the corner. This is a ground that really caught my eye during the Classic last year. I think he dipped inside 27 seconds. And he's got bits and pieces of form over course and distance as well. Burj Khalifa, a big runner out wide as well, but hopefully a nice big price there. I'm going to go with trap 5. Selection for you, Tony?
I'm going to be with the Cypher. I just think he's a pup going the right way, and with a level start, I think he makes all on the inside.
Okay, right, we move on then to heat number 2, which will be the 12:32 and race 8 on the card. I will kick off here because it's a ground who I like a lot. Not going to be my selection, but now it's my turn in trap 3. Now, it didn't work out for this one in the blue ribbon at Toaster, but a massive clock on his card round Oxford over the 450. Again, what I'd consider a speed track. He's certainly going to be a player, but Bogger Rambo, classy sort for Tom Hilborn, who's obviously got a good team for this event, which we'll touch on in the next race or 2. But really classy in Ireland. And, of course, got to the final of the All England Cup. A little bit worried about the draw. I think you prefer a pitch on the inside. But they're the 2 to focus on in my eyes. How do you see it, Tony?
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big fan of the Bogger Rambo dog. Obviously, it didn't go his way in the All England Cup final, but that was a race full of early. Whoever led was probably going to go on and win, and he was denied the luxury of leading. I think he's put up a decent trial at Doncaster, moved well in a prep trial over course and distance. You're right, I would prefer him in nearer the rails, but I'm hoping that might make him go off a bit of a better price than he would have been drawn red. Swift Battery's a solid local, but if Bogger Rambo, pardon the pun, can draw first blood, tack across to the inside, Dave, I think he's a bully dog in front, and he was going to be my selection in Heat 2.
Yep, 2 votes for the Rambo there. Right, Heat 3, which is race 9 on the card, the 12:47. Swift Iconic, a classy sort who needs no introduction, won a couple of competitions as well. He's got the draw on the inside. Belinda Green's Get Up My Lad in trap 2, impressive winner of a trial stake last week. Killer Detail in trap 3, a ground who's got massive pace, probably a little bit better than what we saw of him in a trial stake last time out. What did you make of this one? This is probably one of the more competitive heats.
It certainly is. I mean, Swift Iconic needs no introduction. He only lost out a spot in the Blue Ribbon final on the flip of a coin. He lacks a look round. I must admit, I was surprised. I thought he's not even been round at all, Monmore, but he's one of those dogs. I don't think that's relevant. He has changed his style a little bit. He used to be the smash and grab type of dog, but he likes a little bit of the hustle and bustle now. But I like Skywalker Pele in this particular heat, Dave. I think Ted's placed this dog really well in recent weeks. He's been short, but he's built him up a bit of confidence, the dog. And he claimed the scalp of Crafty Chivou over course and distance last year. So he runs the track. And I think he's got a decent makeup out wide. So I think Skywalker Pele will be the one to beat in this trickier, competitive Heat 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go with Killer Detail. I'm going to take a chance off the front with that one there, but I'm certainly wary of Skywalker Pele around the outside. One of only 4 wides in this event as well, so something to look out for there. Now then, right, race 10 on the card, which is going to be Heat 4, is just a crazy race, a crazy race. Queen Johnny in 1, who won the British Bred Derby, the Produce Stakes as well at Swindon. Kulavani Shadow, who, if you watched last week's episode, I'll tell you that I'm, massive fan of this dog. He goes in 2. He's one of our own in 3. Iams a Sydney, who's a multiple Cat 1 finalist in 4. Fearsome Enigma for Tom Hilbron, a ground with top-class form on his card. And then just a matter of the anti-post favourite as well, where most bookmakers, Churchfield Sid around the outside in trap 6. Now, before I get your view, let's have a look at a very key line of form, because there was a trial stake last Saturday in which Kulavani Shadow and Churchfield Sid did compete. And Churchfield Sid was back with a bang. This is a ground who is trappy. He's got fierce early pace. He flies down the back. He is the full package. And he showed all of that last week, didn't he?
Yeah, what a story behind this dog. I mean, he went wrong in the Puppy Derby over course of distance last year. They've nursed him back to full fitness, and he really thrives on his racing at Monmore. Fresh from his exploits in winning the Kent Derby at Central Park last year. This was his first competitive start. You could have forgiven the dog for being a little bit ring rusty. No, he wasn't. He's got ferocious pace to the turn. Kulavani Shadow, the defending champion, was all over him down the back straight, but he just petered out. He tried his level best to get back on terms, but Churchfield Sid just underlined his talent with a bold success, Dave.
Okay, well, talk to me then. How do we go about solving this top-class red-hot puzzle?
Well, one thing for sure, I am to Sydney's going to be tapped for early pace. That is guaranteed. I think the female of the species is going to be deadlier than a male here. Queen Joni, superb in the Produce Stakes at Swindon, where she broke the track record. Didn't happen for her in the Oaks, but she went on to win that British Bred Derby at Sheffield. This is a hot race, but she's a very special bitch, and I think she can pass what is arguably her toughest assignment to date.
I thought he was going to go for 6 there, because I'm going for 1 as well. So I thought we might have had different views. But I'm going to be with trap 1 as well. I mean, it will break my heart if Kulavani Shadow wins. I can assure you of that. But she's got the inside line here. And there's potential to be 2 or 3 grounds in a line at the turn. And you always want to be on the inside. So she's got the red vest. And she will do for me as well in heat number 4. But that is a race to savour. Saturday, 2 minutes past 1. There might be all sorts of horse racing having kicked off by then. But make sure you cast your eyes on Monmore at 2 minutes past 1 on Saturday, because that is absolutely sensational. Right, 2 more heats then. And we go from that to one of the superstars of Greyhound racing here, because Lynx Maverick, the Ladbrokes Gold Cup champion, a big competition over course and distance, lines up. He's going to be a big player. This is Heat 5, the 117. It'll be race 11 on the card. He goes in 2. King Capaldi, who was runner-up in the English Puppy Derby at Monmore, withdrawn from the final, the British Bred Derby at Sheffield as well. Droopy Zeddy, who was very impressive in a trial stake last week. And the classic winner, Johnny Whiskers, who I thought ran well behind Churchfield Sid and Kulavani Shadow in the VT we just saw. Does he win this, Tony? I mean, it was almost like a last-minute decision to come in is the wrong phrase to use here, but Connections was certainly tentative ahead of his last trial, because he didn't trial too great at Monmore, but my word, he was brilliant at Doncaster. My word, he was brilliant at Monmore last week.
Yeah, it's a watch race. I think it is a watching race. I mean, you've got King Capaldi who wants to be nearer the rails.
Yep.
Lynx Maverick, you could forgive him for needing the run, but he's got no other style than away and gone. And I think he'll be fresh. He'll be raring to go. He's going to show his trademark early pace, Lynx Maverick. And I think if he can get to the front, he might have enough in the tank. Like, I think he's going to come on for the run. I think Tom Hilborn will take second or third just to qualify because he knows he's going to come on for the run. But it's a watching race. Droopy's Eddie, as you'd say, he bounced back to life last time out. And Johnny Whiskers was disgraced in a hot trial stake. But yeah, Lynx Maverick, superb in the Gold Cup last year. If he can bring that trapping boots to the table, I think he can pass this test.
Now, I would put your tissue, your prices, up there with anyone else in the world, if you like. You tell me what price Lynx Maverick's going to be here.
I personally, I'd have him in around 5 to 4-ish. I think he'll be easier to back on the day because it's difficult and on art to sort of back him with confidence. Unless you're behind the scenes or in the know, it's difficult to sort of back him. I wouldn't back him at 5. If you offered me 6 to 4, I'd say no, I'd rather pass. But if he produces the form that saw him win the Gold Cup, you'd be going 6 to 4, Bullen, you're turning that down. But it's such good rivals in the race that I would, if I owned him, I'd be delighted with just qualifying.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm just going to take a chance with Johnny Whiskers in 5 here because we know King Capaldi, who has been well back for this year's Greyhound Derby already, a market mover there. But he's desperate for the inside. And, you know, something's going to have to give on the run to the corner. He might get across and win. But Johnny Whiskers, I thought, run well in that trial stake. Classic winner. I think can run sort of race there. But, I mean, Lynx Maverick's just he's explosive from the boxes. He could just, you know, do the business again there. So we shall see. We move on to heat number 6 then. And certainly one for the locals here is likely to head the betting because Aero Secundi, who we're going to have a look at winning a trial stake last Saturday. This is a greyhound who really impressed in 2 Ben races. He's unbeaten in the UK, Tony, and he went about his business in real good fashion. You know, it wasn't a red-hot trial stake, but what I liked about him is he seemed to run the bends as fast as he did the straights.
Yeah, he showed good pace at Cork. He had a couple of races over the 480 metres at Cork last year. Showed good early. They didn't mess around. They put him in sprints. He rattled off a hat trick. Now they stepped him up to the 480 metres and he took to it very well. Admittedly, it wasn't as strength in depth as what he's got to face in this competition, but he done nothing wrong, Dave. He's got the early pace. I think that Connections would be pleased with a draw here, and I think he makes all.
Yeah, 28-18 as well we put on the board, so a real fair run. And I like him on the inside as well, because you see in that VT, he was under a rail at the first bend. So this dog's a tight railer anyway. You know, as long as he can drive it from the inside, which I think he'll be fine, he's going to be very, very hard to beat there. So 2 votes for the red in Heat 6. Let's have a look at the show then with the sponsors here. Ladbrokes, one of the first firms up this week. 4-1 joint favourites, Churchfield Sid, King Capaldi. 5-1 Lynx Maverick. 7 Kulavani Shadow. I mean, you're getting 10-1 about Queen Joni. It's just an incredible competition. The strength in depth is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you could have 3 or 4 picks at this event, Dave, and come up dry. It's that good. It's pace galore. It's railer heavy, like many events we see nowadays. And on that basis, I'm just going to take the chance with a wide. And it's not the wide that's one of the anti-post market leaders. It's Skywalker Pele. If the event does cut up with the inside dogs, I just think a wide like Skywalker Pele could just keep sneaking through. And admittedly, he might need something to occur, but he's quick enough. He's proven at the track. He'll do for me at a price.
Yeah, he's a fair price as well. One of 4 wides in it. So Skywalker Pele, Ted Soppit, Tony's anti-post pick. I'm going to go with a ground who I mentioned a couple of times, Johnny Whiskers, who I cannot believe at the time of recording this is 28-1, having won the Classic at Sunderland. I thought run well in that trial stake behind Churchfield Sid and Kulavani Shadow, and can't be 28 to 1. As I say, I think it's got a good draw in the first round, albeit in with Lynx Maverick and King Capaldi. It's red hot, but they all are. You know, if you're going to win this, you're going to have to turn up sort of 3 weeks in a row. So Johnny Whiskers, I think you could back each way at 28. I mean, it's not really my sort of each way play because it's going to be all or nothing with a lot of these. You either lead and qualify, or you could be going out. But 28 to 1's far too big. So I'm going for Johnny Whiskers, who's got loads of pace. One of the seeded dogs as well. So, you know, could end up in trap 6 if we do lose, you know, the other seeded dogs. But, you know, that in turn, you know, things could get congested on the inside. So I'm similar to Tony in that we're looking for a seeded dog to kind of be out wide and out of trouble in this event. Right. There are 6 red-hot first-round heats of the Ladbrokes Winter Derby on Saturday at Monmore. Tony Bullen of the Racing Post, take the floor. Who is your nap on the card?
Bogger Rambo for me in Heat 2. I know the draw is far from ideal out in 4, and he's got a solid local in Swift Battery in the race, but I just think that would help with price. I think if you'd have drawn red, he would have been skinny. I wouldn't have entertained him, but I think being out in 4, you might get a little bit more juice than you wouldn't have got had he had a plum draw. He's got the pace. He's 34 and a bit kilos as well, so he's big enough and strong enough to negotiate an early bump if he has to. In an ideal scenario, he traps level, tacks across, waves bye-bye down the back straight, Dave.
Yeah, he's going to be a big player, of course. The All England Cup finalist. The action is absolutely sensational at Monmore on Saturday, and there's superstars everywhere you look in the first round of the Ladbrokes Winter Derby. My nap on the first round, 6 heats, is going to be one at a bit of a price as well, because I'm going to go with Magical Rubble in trap 5. It goes in heat 2, which is the 12.32. Now, it might just all happen on the inside here. And this dog, I think, is going to be sort of 8, 9, 10 to 1 at least. And he can really, really run. He really caught my eye during the Classic at Sunderland, the back end of last year. The 480 at Monmore will suit. It's got bits and pieces of form over course and distance. And at a big price, we'll take a chance that he brings the trapping boots and he can be away and gone. We look forward to the action at Monmore. It will, of course, be live on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. This has been Off the Leash, episode 4. We'll be back next week. Do get in touch with us with your comments, like, and of course, subscribe to the Racing Post YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.